The Hope Center gave hundreds of the homeless a place to stay during the freezing winter. Now, facing a possible loss of funding that may not be as much of an option for some.
Red Mile Racetrack is planning a $25 million renovation for a potential new gambling parlor that could create as many as 150 new jobs.
Lawmakers, consumers, and family members are demanding answers from General Motors. Nearly 7 million vehicles. Now there are questions about what GM knew and when. UK Student News Network starts now. Hello and welcome to UK Student News Network Live at 4. I'm Rachel Lawley.
And I'm Elizabeth Sue. Thanks for joining us. We begin today with crises facing charities. They need city money to help them, and they may not get it. After the Social Services and Community Development Committee graded the programs, 44 of the programs got a score less than 124 out of 145 and didn't make the cut.
How many wouldn't have made it through the winter?
Lexington has a $13 million surplus as of February 28th. 44 local charity programs may not see any of it.
It's scary. We wouldn't be able to function without it. I mean, what the city provides is needed.
It costs about $1 million a year to run the emergency shelter alone. We're filling that gap of resource availability. A lot of people just don't know exactly where to go to find affordable housing. They don't know exactly where to go to try to find a job. The shelter is the front door to everything, every opportunity that we offer the homeless population of Lexington.
Please don't make a mistake of cutting off funding to the Hope Center, because it is a life-sustaining agency. If it had not been for the Hope Center, I'd probably been a casualty, a statistic. Nothing inside of me wanted to live anymore. And just so happened I ended up here, and I was allowed and afforded the opportunity to be around people who had at one time been in the same spot as I was when I got in these doors, and they were able to help breathe life back into me.
It seems inhumane to take these services away from these people that are already vulnerable. It's really a matter of being able to operate at all. There's far-reaching consequences to losing that much funding. So we really hope that that's not what's going to happen. We're hoping that, the community can come together and tell our mayor exactly what these services mean to Lexington and what they mean to the homeless of Lexington. We need them to be a voice for these voiceless people.
Right now, the cuts are recommendations and have to be approved. Mayor Jim Gray's budget deadline is April 8th.
Mayor Gray and council agreed to use $3.5 million for affordable housing and for homeless prevention.
The there's $500,000 earmarked specifically for homeless projects.
Okay.
And that money came from a budget surplus from the current fiscal year, FY14, from a variety of ways that we've been able to reduce expenditures and save money.
There's $13 million for the current fiscal year. The Affordable Housing for the Homeless is a $500,000 project that the mayor and council are working on. The Red Mile Harness Racetrack is planning on investing $25 million in new additions. This could potentially employ 150 people with the new jobs that would be added to the track, according to the Kentucky Horse Racing Commission. These new additions will include renovating part of its grandstand, building a 50,000 square foot facility, as well as adding 500 instant racing terminals. Keeneland Racetrack is planning on doing similar renovations. If approved by the Racing Commission, the additions are expected to be done by July of 2015 for both Keeneland and Red Mile.
The new project of Rupp Arena is being set back because the government is not budgeting the arena enough money. As of right now, what they get is nowhere close to the amount they need for all their planned renovations. Despite a last-minute push by Lexington Mayor Jim Gray, the renovation and expansion of Rupp Arena will get just $1.5 million in the two-year compromise, state budget approved Monday by the House and Senate. But they need a total of $310 million to work on the project. The legislative session is not over until April 15th, and the mayor said they will be working every day to get the legislation to allow them to fund the project. We turn now to look at news from around the country and an update on that landslide in Washington state. 3 more people have been added to the list of casualties from last month's landslide in Washington state. Only the names of 19 victims have been released, these victims ranging in age from 4 months to 71 years. There are still 21 people missing.
More problems for General Motors. The company issued a recall this week. It affects 1.3 million vehicles in the U.S. The issue with these vehicles deals with a sudden loss of power steering. The head of General Motors is on Capitol Hill this week as GM faces criticism for failing to issue the recall until after 13 deaths. We get details now from CNN's Tori Dunnan.
I am deeply sorry.
Apologies from GM CEO Mary Barra during testimony on Capitol Hill.
Because whatever mistakes were made in the past, we will not shirk from our responsibilities now or in the future.
Just this week, GM recalled more than 1 million cars for a power steering issue. But the company is in the crosshairs because of the time it took to report a separate issue, a faulty ignition switch.
I cannot tell you why it took so long for a safety defect to be announced for this program, but I can tell you we will find out.
10 years to be exact, leading to at least 30 crashes and 13 deaths.
Driving this car was like playing a game of Russian roulette.
An emotional day on Capitol Hill. Families who believe they lost loved ones to the defect, slamming General Motors and the cars they believe put their lives at risk.
We are the people left behind when a loved one got into what was supposed to be a safe car, a GM car. A car that GM knew for years was dangerous and defective.
Before testifying in Washington, the CEO meeting with those very families.
Today's GM will do the right thing.
General Motors plans to take a $750 million charge against earnings in the first few months of this year to cover the cost of repairs. With its shares already down 16% this year, GM will continue to get grilled about what happened and why. In Washington, I'm Tori Dunnan reporting.
General Motors plans to take a $75 million charge against earnings in the first few months of this year to cover repair costs. Although GM is taking the necessary steps to make things right, it's simply too late for some families. Well, do you have bad posture? Find out ways that you may be hurting your posture and not even knowing it. Coming up next in our Health Minute. Desiree Duncan joins us now for today's Health Minute. Desiree?
Throughout the day, millions don't realize that there are simple ways that we can improve our health, even if it's just by sitting the correct way.
Stand up straight. Sit up. It sounds like nagging, but it's actually healthful advice.
Posture is aligning your joints and your body in a way that puts the least strain on your muscles.
But Dr. Diana Sodick says that we often have bad posture. The biggest mistakes while sitting is jutting your head forward, slumping shoulders, crossing at the legs, and leaning to one side, especially when driving.
If you have bad posture over time, you can have pain, have neck pain, headaches or upper back pain, low back pain, and overuse injuries.
You can actually work to improve your posture to sit properly.
Flat on the floor, her hips are back against the chair, her back is all against the chair, and then her head is neutral. It's right in line, it's not too far forward.
To check your standing posture, try the wall test. Stand about 2 inches away from the wall. If you have good posture, your shoulders, head, and buttocks should all touch the wall with enough space to slide one hand behind your lower back. Sitting or standing, here's a tip for good posture.
Imagine a string pulling from your head to the ceiling.
These simple tips can help avoid greater health risks down the road. So the next time that you're driving or even on the computer, remember to sit up. Rachel, Liz.
Thanks, Desiree. Well, coming up, Kentucky basketball's next opponent.
Find out more about UK's upcoming Final Four game against the Wisconsin Badgers. Sports is next. Nick Peroni joins us now with sports.
You guys excited?
I'm
definitely excited for this basketball. I mean, made it to the Final Four, headed to Dallas. Either you going?
I wish I was. Can't say that I am, though.
And I wish I was too, but I mean, it's going to be pretty crazy around here, so let's definitely check it out, all right? It's on everyone's mind, and it's what everyone's talking about. Kentucky is back in the Final Four after a stellar victory over Michigan this past Sunday. Now, the Cats head to Dallas to square off with another Big Ten foe, the Wisconsin Badgers. But what do we know about the Wisconsin Badgers? They finished the regular season with a 30-7 record, which included victories over Michigan, Virginia, and Florida. Like the Cats, their tournament run hasn't been easy. They defeated Oregon, Baylor, and #1 seeded Arizona. And after each victory, they party on, you guessed it, State Street. Wisconsin is led by their versatile 7-footer Frank Kaminsky. Kaminsky is a threat from both inside the paint and beyond the three-point line. Their veteran coach, Bo Ryan, is making his first trip to the Final Four. And Coach Kell spoke yesterday about the matchup.
Tough matchup for us. A tough matchup. Really skilled, 7 foot tall. It's going to be a handful.
Is this where you're going to miss? This is the game you'll miss Willie the most?
Wish we had Willie. Maybe we will. I doubt it. But this would be his game.
Cauley Stein injured his ankle in last Friday's Sweet 16 game and was unable to play against Michigan. Many fans voiced their support for the eccentric shot blocker by posting on social media, "Win it for Willie." Now, it's not always about the X's and O's on the court or the blue and white in the stands. When the Cats play, well, local businesses do well. UK student reporter Kiana Lige with more on the story. It's safe to say a lot of people are looking to trade in their Final Four shirts with national championship shirts by this time next week. But on to baseball. Yesterday, UK defeated in-state rival Louisville 8-3 at Cliff Hagan Stadium. Thomas Burnell cracked his first home run of the season as part of a three-hit 4 RBI game. The game was played in front of the 4th largest crowd in UK baseball history. The win over the 8th-ranked Cardinals gave UK a 5-3 record against these ranked top teams' opponents. This week, Mark Stoops didn't just have his team. This week, Mark Stoops didn't just have his team back on the field for spring practice. He's also getting his face on a bottle of bourbon. Maker's Mark is in partnership with Keeneland, officially unveiled their latest commemorative bourbon bottle. It's all-black bottle with blue wax featuring Stoops doing the Y at a home basketball game. So speaking of Keeneland and bourbon, horse racing returns to Lexington this Friday as the historic race course opens up for the spring meet. The day will also be College Scholarship Day for the students. The course will be giving out $10,000 in scholarships and money, as well as other prizes. Post time for the first race is at 1 in the afternoon. So you all excited about the horse racing? I mean, we got basketball horses. I mean, it's just a giddy-up time.
Yeah, as long as the weather holds up for horse racing.
I think it will be, and I definitely think we're going to find out soon here in the near future with Alan Ducker, aren't we?
We sure are. You're right.
All right, for sure.
All right, thanks so much, Nick.
No problem.
Well, coming up, find out how your weekend weather will look for Keeneland and the big game, just like we were talking about. Weather is next. Alan Ducker joins us now with a look at the weather. And I know we still have a couple more days, but people are really looking ahead to this weekend.
Absolutely. It looks like, early part of the weekend could be a little dicey. We're still tracking some systems moving into the region. But later in the weekend, things could be looking up. But most importantly, let's get to how it's looking outside right now. So as you take a look outside, it's currently a beautiful day on campus here as we look at UK. It's 60 degrees, cloudy, a slight chance of rain this afternoon. Nothing too big to worry about.
All right, so it looks like we're seeing some rain, but the weekend looks nice.
It does. Like I said, the early part of the weekend could be a little tough, but Saturday and Sunday look like beautiful days to get out there and enjoy all the activities here in the Bluegrass.
Yes, I can definitely deal with that temperature.
Absolutely.
All right, well, thank you, Alan. Coming up, find out how local police say you can stay safe before, during, and after the big game this Saturday.
With all the excitement about the game this weekend, fans are encouraged to celebrate.
But celebrate safely. Police spokesperson Sherelle Roberts provided tips to stay safe for this weekend's festivities. She said, "Don't get too drunk, follow the laws. If you see others misbehaving, leave the area. Stay in groups, avoid violent behavior, stay off of rooftops, and no fires. And also try to avoid large crowds and riots. Police will be on State Street and Limestone patrolling. If you need any help, contact a policeman in an area near you."
Mayor Jim Gray says, quote, "Let's cheer, let's celebrate, let's respect neighbors, and also let's be safe," end quote.
And I hope everyone does respect that. You gotta stay safe, you know.
Always, always. So
Yeah.
play smart, do smart, and everything's great.
Absolutely, and I think we're going to see some huge crowds with the beautiful weather for Saturday. So it's an exciting time.
Well, that does it For us here at UK Student News Network, live at 4, I'm Elizabeth Sue.
And I'm Rachel Lawley. For Nick Peroni, Alan Ducker, and all of us here at UK Student News Network, thanks for joining us and have a good night.